I'm going to show you how you can make a WordPress website using drag and drop, so you don't need to have any coding knowledge. I'll show you how to add video backgrounds, how to create sections, how to add pages, how to add images, text, buttons. You'll be able to move parts of the website around, and this website will be completely customizable, so you can create and make it about whatever you want. You'll even be able to add a contact form that goes straight to your email. And the website will also look great on all mobile devices. If you get stuck at any point in this video, just leave it in the comments. I reply to all my comments. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. First, we need to get our website's name. That's called a domain. And hosting, that's the storage for our website's files. These are the only two things we have to pay for, but don't worry, it's less than $15, and I'm going to give you a promo code that's going to make it even cheaper. To get the hosting, you can click the first link in the description or go to hostgator.com. Then we're going to click on hosting and choose shared hosting. Then scroll down and we have some plans here. The Hatching plan is the most affordable and has everything we need, so we're going to click buy now. Here we can choose our domain name. I'm going to call my website "Thank you for liking this video," and I'm going to choose .com by clicking right here. Then it's going to show you some additional domain recommendations, but we only need one, so we don't need any of these. Then we have this option to add domain privacy for $15 a year. This basically hides your personal contact information, but since I'm already going to have my contact information on the website for clients and visitors to contact me, I don't really need this, so I'm going to uncheck it. Next, we're going to choose a hosting plan. We already chose the Hatchling plan, so make sure that's there. And the billing cycle, I'm just going to choose 1 month to have the lowest upfront cost, and I'm going to give you a promo code that's going to make this even cheaper. Next, we're going to create our account by plugging in our email address and password and creating a 4-digit PIN. And then we're going to plug in our billing details. You can pay with a credit card or with PayPal. Next, there's some additional services. Sometimes some of these are checked by default, so make sure none of them are checked. We don't need any of these, and we can do a lot of these things on our own through our website. Next, we're going to see our total, and we see that it comes out to $23.90. But I actually have a promo code that's going to make it a lot cheaper. The promo code is BIGSAVE, BIGSAVE, and when we click validate, we see the total comes down to just $13.20. Not only do you save money, but Hostgator does give me credit when you use this promo code, so thank you so much for using my promo code. Next, we're going to scroll down and check here that we agree to the terms of service, and then we're going to click checkout now. Give it a few seconds to configure your account. Then you might get a screen like this, but just X out of it. Next, you might get a screen like this, but close out of it. That'll bring you to the Hostgator portal. If for any reason you can't find this page, it's portal.hostgator.com. Once you're here, scroll down, and from this control panel option here, click where it says install WordPress. On this page, scroll down a little bit and click where it says install now. Here we can set up our website's name and description. I'm going to call my site Adventure, and the site description is going to be my awesome website, but you can put your business name here. Next, under username, you can plug in the username you want to have, and you can also erase this password and write a password that you can remember. Then choose what email you want the website details to be sent to. Next, we can scroll down all the way to the bottom. We don't need to pick a theme right now. I'm going to show you how to do that the right way inside of WordPress. So just go ahead and click install. Give it a few minutes to install, and then you'll see a page like this. Here is the first link to go see our website. Let's click it. If you see a page that says hello world, it means WordPress was installed successfully. Sometimes the design of this page might be a little bit different, but as long as you see something, it means it worked. If you get a blank page or an error page, don't worry. Especially if you have a brand new domain, sometimes it can take 15 to 20 minutes for the website to show up. Once it shows up, the next step is to log into our website. We can do that by adding /wp-admin to our URL and click enter. Now we're at our login page, and we can go ahead and close the extra tabs we have open. We just need this one for right now. Plug in the username and password that you made for WordPress and click login. This is the WordPress dashboard, the back end of our website. If you click on the top left-hand corner on the name of your website, you'll be able to go back to the front end and see your website again. You'll notice that this time you have this toolbar. Don't worry, only you see that when you're logged in. And our website is looking pretty basic, but we're ready to start working on it. So to do that, let's go back to the dashboard by clicking on our website name again. And the first thing we're going to do is get rid of all the pre-installed stuff that we don't need that comes with the website. To do that, we're going to click right here where it says plugins. And plugins are basically like applications that come pre-installed on your website. Kind of like when you buy a new phone, that it comes with a lot of pre-installed apps that you don't really use. So if we scroll down here, we'll see all these different plugins. These are all the plugins right here that are pre-installed in the website, and we don't need any of these. So we're going to check right here where it says plugins, and from this drop down we're going to choose deactivate to deactivate them and click apply, and that's going to turn them all white like this. And now that they're deactivated, we can actually go ahead and delete them. So we're going to check again all plugins, and we're going to click delete and click apply, and then click OK. And we can see the plugins getting deleted one by one until they're all done. Next, we're going to install plugins that we actually need to use. To do that, click here where it says add new, and here in the search bar, we're going to search for the plugins we're going to use. The first one is called Elementor. Here we can see the plugin. Sometimes the logo of the plugin changes, so just make sure it has the same name and click install. Then click activate. Elementor is the page builder that's going to allow us to make our website with drag and drop, and now we have it on our website. Next, we're going to add the contact form plugin. So let's click add new again, and this time we'll search for contact form 7. Here it is. We'll click install and activate. These are the only 2 plugins that we need to build this website, but there's plugins for all kinds of things like booking appointments, adding a store, and adding all sorts of different features to your website. And if you find yourself needing a little bit of extra help to add something or customize something on your website, I do offer one-on-one help through my website, icreateyoursite.com, where you can book a one-on-one session with me. The next thing we're going to do is install our theme. To do that, we're going to go to Appearance and then Themes and click there. Then we're going to click Add New, and the theme we're going to search for is called Astra. It's this one right here. The same thing goes, sometimes they update the picture, so just make sure it has the exact same name. So we're going to go ahead and click install and activate. Next, we're going to make the pages for our website. So we're going to go here to where it says pages and click there. There are some pre-made pages. We can click here to select them all and click move to trash. We don't need the sample pages, and click apply. We can close out of this little pop-up. Now to add our pages, click add new. And the first page we're going to create is our home page, so we'll just call it home. Then click publish and click publish again. Next, we're going to click on this W to go back, and we're going to click add new again to add another page. I'm going to create a home page, a service page, and a contact page, but you can make more pages if you need more. So this is going to be the service page, and we're going to click publish and publish again, and then we're going to click the W to go back. And last, I'm going to make a contact page, click add new, and call it contact, and click publish. And we can click W to go back. Next, let's make our navigation menu, and then we'll be able to check in and see how our website is looking. To do that, let's go to Appearances and let's go to Menus. Here where it says menu name, you can call it whatever you want, but I'm going to call mine main menu. Check primary menu and click create menu. Next, here select your 3 pages or more that you want to be on your website's navigation menu and click add to menu. So here's our menu, and we can drag and drop to change the order we want the items to be in. So I want home, then services, and then contact. If you want to make a drop down menu for any reason, like if you have a lot of pages, you can just pull this to the right and this will create a drop down automatically. But I just want them all to be on the same menu, so I'm just going to leave it like this and click save menu. Now let's go back and see how our website is looking so far. Click on your website name here in the top left, and we can see our website is looking really different. It's not great yet, but you can see that now we have a header, we have our website's name, we have a navigation menu, and the colors are a little bit better, so we're definitely making progress. The next thing we have to do is let WordPress know that we want the home page to be the first page that shows up. To do that, let's go back to our dashboard by clicking on our website name. Then we're going to go to Settings and Reading. Here where it says your home page displays, we're going to choose a static page, and then for home page, we're going to choose Home. Then scroll down and click Save Changes. Now if we go back and click on our website name again to see our website, we can see that it shows the home page. Now for the fun part, let's start designing our home page. Let's click on our website name again to go back to the dashboard. Next, let's go to Pages, and here on the home page, click Edit. Then click Edit with Elementor. That'll load up the Elementor builder. And this is the interface we're going to use to design our website. On the left-hand side, we have the Elementor toolbox. And these are all the different kinds of things that we can insert into our website. Headings, images, videos, Google Maps, buttons. We can scroll down here. There are some pro elements that come with the paid version. I'll have a link in my description if you want to get this paid version, but we don't need it for this tutorial. And if we keep scrolling, we have image boxes, galleries, counters, testimonials, tabs, all kinds of things that we can add to our website. So how do we create the first section of our homepage? It's really simple. Click the plus icon, and now it's going to ask us to select our structure. So what do all these little boxes here actually mean? Well, it's asking you how many columns you want in your first section. This is one column, this is two, this is three. But what's the difference? What does this actually do? Well, let me show you an example. Here's apple.com, and here this is one column, one section. We have one big background image, a title, text, and two buttons. But if I scroll down, here we have two columns. This is one background image with a title and some buttons, and this is a different background image with some title and some buttons. And if we scroll all the way to the bottom, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. So depending on what design you want is how many columns you choose. And I'll show you how to use different columns in your design. But for our first section, we just need one column. So let's click this one. So here's our first section and it's empty. Now it looks pretty small. The first thing we need to do is make it bigger. So to do that, we're going to click right here in the middle, and you'll see that the settings on our left-hand side changed. Now it became the options for this section. We have the layout, the style, and advanced. And when I click style, I get settings for the styling. And when I click advanced, I get the advanced settings. Let's start with the layout settings. To make it taller, we can go here to where it says height and change it from default to minimum height. And then we can choose to change it from an amount of pixels to VH, which makes it a percent of this screen. And when you drag this around, you'll see that the height of the column changes. I think a good height is going to be around 90%. We want it to be a really big, captivating section. The next thing we want to do is add a background to this section to make it visually appealing. We can do that in the styles option. So here the first setting says background, and there's actually many different kinds of backgrounds that we can add. We have the classic background, which can be a color, or it can be an image. We have the gradient background, which lets you choose two different colors and then adjust the gradient with these tools, and I'll go over that in more detail in a second. We have a video background, and we can plug in here a video link. And we have a slideshow background where you can choose multiple images to slide through this section. Let's start with a regular image background. So I'll click right here where it says classic, and then I'll click this plus to choose an image. And right now we'll see that here in the media library there's no files. We can click here where it says upload files, and click here where it says select files, and that'll let us choose images from our computer. But what if you don't have any beautiful professional images because, like me, you're not a photographer? Well, let me show you real quick a website where you can get free professional images in case you don't have any of your own. You can go to unsplash.com and search for free images. For example, I can search desert, and these are all free professional high resolution images of the desert that I can import and use on my website. Or if you have a more business related website, you can search customers and then get pictures that are more related to business. Like maybe you're a baker, you could search baker, or a carpenter. You can find any kind of image you want. Once you find an image that you like, you can click on it, and then here where it says download for free, click the arrow first and choose medium. The reason is you don't want the picture to be too large of a file and make your website slow. So choose medium, and that'll automatically download your picture. If you don't have any of your own photos, this is a great website to get images. I've already got my images, so I'm going to click select file, and I'm going to choose one of my images and click open, and then click insert. And it's gone ahead and added my image in, but the size of my image doesn't really match the exact size of this box. So we can adjust the settings to make it look good. Here where it says position, we can put center center, and under size, we can put cover. Now the image looks much better. Now, what if you want a video background? Then you can click here where it says video, and here you can put a link to the video. So you can go to YouTube and find a video that you like, for example, this really awesome video from GoPro. So I can just go ahead and copy the URL and paste it right here, and now the video will show. But let's say I only want to show a specific part of the video. I can choose the start time and the end time in seconds. So you might have to do a little bit of math, but I know for this one it's 40 seconds. And for the end time, maybe I can put something like 80. So it'll just keep looping the 20-second clip in between. When you get a video from YouTube, it's always going to show the little YouTube logo for a few seconds. If you don't want that, you can use your own video. To use your own video, go back to Classic, click on the picture again, go to Upload, click Select Files, Select the video file from your computer. It has to be a video that you already have. Click open. That's going to upload the video to your website. Then here on the right hand side, scroll a little bit down, and here's the video URL. We're going to copy that right there, and we don't have to click insert because this is only for image, but we just needed to copy the URL. So now we're going to go back here to video, and we can paste that video here. And now it's going to pull the video from our own media. But I think the GoPro video looks much cooler, so I'm going to put that one. Now let's add our first heading. How do we do that? Well, we're going to click right here on this little square to go back to all of our elements. And we can use this one here called heading, and just click, hold, and drag and drop it in. And if your video disappears for a second, don't worry, that's totally normal. But here's our text, and now we can see that our settings changed for our text. We can erase what's written here and then write whatever you want your headline to be. I want mine to say adventure. I also want it to be on the middle of the page. So here where it says alignment, I'm going to choose the middle. Now I want to change the color and make it bigger. But before I do that, I do want the video to show. So let me just click update here to save our changes. That's going to save everything. And then I'm going to refresh the page. Now everything is loading together. If anything ever gets stuck, just save your changes and refresh the page. That'll fix almost any hiccup. So here we have our title on our video, but let's make this white and let's make it bigger. So all we have to do is click on it, and then we'll get the settings again. Now we'll go to style, and the first one says text color. So let's click right here on the color and choose white. Next, let's go to typography and click the little pencil. And here we have different fonts that we can choose from. So you could choose a different font and it will automatically change. But I like the font Roboto, so I'm going to keep that one. And then here where it says font size, we can make it bigger or smaller. I'm going to put mine at 80. You can also change the weight. That's how thick the font is. So I can click right here and the smaller number will make it thinner, like that, which looks really modern. Or you can make it thick, and that makes it look stronger to me. So that's looking really great. Next, let's add a sub-headline and some buttons here. But before that, since I know the video turns off whenever I add an element here, I'm just gonna go back here and switch to a image background. You can choose to have a video if you want, or a picture. This is just gonna make it easier for me to show you. So to add a sub-headline, we're gonna go back here to all our elements, and we can go back to heading and drag and drop the sub-headline. And we can align it to the center. And here we can write our subheadline. And I'm going to write my awesome website. Next, we can go to style to change the text color. We'll click the text color and drag it to white. Then we can go to typography and adjust the size. Another cool thing we can do is here under transform, we can change the text to make it all capitalized, and that will capitalize all the words. Or we can even make it all uppercase or all lowercase. I think all capitalized looks good. Next, let's add two buttons right under here, and we'll have a button that when people click it, it goes to services, and another button that when it gets clicked, it goes to contact. To do that, we're going to go back to all of our elements, and this time we're going to go to button, and we'll drag that right in. And we see that we have to also align it here to the center again, so we're going to click here on center. And now, first we can change the text of the button. So I'm just going to write the name of the page that it goes to. So I'll write services here. That way people know that it goes to services, but you can call the button whatever you want. And then here where it says link, I'm going to erase this and write the word services. And Elementor will automatically recommend the services page because it sees that it has the same name as what I'm writing. So I can click that and it will automatically fill out the link. You can also copy and paste a link if you want it to go somewhere else. Next, we can change the design of the button by going to style. Here in style, we can change the typography just like we did to the text. So we can make the font bigger or smaller. I think 15 is good. And as far as the text, I think it's pretty good. Next, we can click out of here. And here we have text color and the button background color. So we can change the color by clicking this green right here and changing it. And we see that it changes, or using this slider to pick from different colors. I'm going to make my button a golden color like this. And when people hover over the button, I want it to change colors. So how do we do that? To do that, we can click out of the color picker. And then here where it says hover, we can choose the color that it goes to on hover. So on hover, I want it to go to black. and we'll see how that looks. And now we can see that when we hover our mouse over the button, it switches to black. You can also change the regular color of the text and the hover color of the text, but I think it looks good in white and it's easy to read, so I'm going to leave it like that. Now let's add our second button. Now normally you'd think you'd have to go back to all the buttons and then redo all the steps, but there's actually an easier way to do it. You can hover over your button and you can right click on it, and if you have a Mac that doesn't already have a right click set up, you can set that up in System Preferences under Keyboard and Mouse. But once we right click this button, we can click where it says duplicate, and that'll make a copy of the button just like this. So here we have our service button, and then this copy, we're going to use it to create our contact button. So let's click on the copy, and then here is the information for the button. We're going to change this text to contact, and this link we're going to erase it and write contact. That's going to recommend the contact page, which we can click to add it. Now we have a service button and a contact button, but we want them to be next to each other, not on top of each other. So how do we do that? To do that, we're going to go back to all our elements, and we're going to click this element that says intersection. This element allows you to add 2 columns inside of a section. So we're going to drag this and we're going to put it right under the subheading. And you see that now we have these 2 columns, and we can click, hold, and drag one button into one of them, and then drag the other button into the other one. So here we have our title, subheading, and the 2 buttons, but they're really far away from each other. So let's bring them to the middle. To do that, let's click the first button and go back to content, and we're going to click alignment to the right, and we see that it comes here to the right. And on this button, we're going to click it, and on this alignment, we're going to do it to the left. So we squished them in together. So now we have our first section with our title, our subheading, and our 2 buttons. Now let's go ahead and click update to save our changes. Now to see what our website looks like for everybody else, let's click on this eyeball icon and click preview. So here's how our website is looking so far. We have our navigation menu and our first section, and it was super easy to do. So let's go ahead and create the rest of our homepage. We can leave this tab open just to make it easier and click on our Elementor tab. And since I'm done working in this section, I'm going to turn the video back on. So I'll go back here to the section settings, and I'm going to choose video again. Then let's refresh the page, and let's see how that looks on our website by switching tabs. So that looks awesome. Let's finish up the rest of our homepage. Go back to your Elementor tab, and let's scroll down to create the next section. So now we can click the plus again, and this time I want to have an image on one side and text on the other side. So I'm going to click 2 columns, and now we have 2 different sections to work with. First, let's put an image on this side. So let's go to all of our elements. Let's go to image, and let's drag and drop that in. And now I want to have text on this side. So I'm going to have a heading and a paragraph. Let's bring those in. Let's go back to all of our elements. Let's bring in a heading, and then go back to all of our elements and bring in the text editor, which will allow us to add a paragraph, and put it in right under. You could add a paragraph as a heading, but it's better to do it with this one that's meant to do paragraphs. Okay, so now we have our 2 sections and all the content that is supposed to go inside of them. Now we can start designing it. Let's first add the picture, so we'll click on the picture again, and then we'll click choose image from the settings. And I've already uploaded a bunch of pictures to my website by clicking the upload files option, so I'm going to choose one of the ones that I've uploaded. I'll choose this one, and then I'll click insert media. So there's our picture, and it looks pretty good, but I think it would look even better if I could round off these corners, and we can actually do that. So if we click here to edit the picture, and then we go to style, we see we have a lot of options to change the size, but I actually think it's a pretty good size, so I'm going to leave that there. And then here we have an option called border radius. So the radius is the curve of the border. So the bigger value that I put in these boxes, the bigger the curve will be. For example, if I put in 100, you'll see that it makes a really intense curve. But if I put in 20, for example, it does a much more gentle curve. And I think this looks really clean and really professional. So I'm going to leave it like this. Next, let's customize our text on the right-hand side. So we'll click the heading, and here I'm going to write step by step, just like this video. And I want to customize this by going to style, and then text color, I'm going to make it black. And for typography, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So let's choose the size that we like. I think 35 looks really good. The weight I think looks good. And we're going to use the option to transform to make it all uppercase. And now we can actually go here to style and add another setting to make it italic. And I think that looks really cool and energetic, like my website. Next, let's modify this paragraph. So I'm going to click it right here. And here you could write a paragraph about yourself or about your company or any idea that you want to talk about. So you can easily erase this and write whatever you want to write. For example, I could write, hello, welcome to my website. and talk a little bit about myself or my business or the services that I offer. But I'm going to leave the dummy text there for now. And if I want to put the dummy text back, or if you make a mistake, Elementor actually has an undo button. So if you click right here on this little clock that says history, you'll see that it actually saves every single little change that you do on your website. So I can just click back through the steps and it will go undoing the things. So for example, here, erase the text. And if I click again, it goes back to where I had it before. So if you make a mistake, you can easily undo it. Once you find where you need to go back to, you can just leave it there and then click on the element again. So here we have our dummy text, and the only thing I want to do is make it black so it's easier to read. So I'm going to go to Style, go to Text Color, and make it black. So it looks really good, but I really wish this text was centered with this image, and we can actually do that. So to center all the stuff, both the text and the paragraph, we can click here on this little column icon for the settings of this column. So this section has settings, each element has settings, but the columns also have settings, which are these little gray boxes. So let's click there, and there's an option here that says vertical alignment, and we can change it from default to middle, and that will align everything inside of this box to the middle, like this. So I think this looks really great. However, I do feel that it's a little bit cramped. It would be great if I could give some space around everything. And we can do that by going here to the section and going to advanced, and here where it says padding, that's pretty much the spacing. So if I click 100, for example, that will add 100 pixels of space all the way around. And I think that's a little too much. I want to have 0 and 0 on the sides, but 100 and 100 at the top and bottom. So to do that, we can erase these, and we have to click this unlink values so that we can put a different number in each box. So here at the top, I'm going to put 100. Then on the right, I'm going to leave it at 0. At the bottom, I'm going to put 100. And at the left, we're going to leave it at 0. That leaves us space at the top and at the bottom, but lets us keep this section full width. I think this looks really great, so I'm going to go ahead and click update to save my changes. Next, I'm going to add a services section with 3 services that I offer. So to do that, we're going to click here and add a brand new section, and I'm just going to choose one section, and I want this section to have a really nice background image. So let's go to the section settings, and let's go to height to make it the right height, minimum height, vertical, and let's set it to maybe 60. Next, let's go to Style, Image, and let's choose an image background. So we'll pick a picture. And I think this picture looks really cool, so I'm going to hit Insert Media. Now we can adjust the settings of this picture by setting the position to center, and the size to cover, like we did before. Now we can also add a really cool animation to this picture. So if here where it says attach, we change this to fixed, it'll make it so that when we scroll through our website, the image scrolls as well. And we can see that adds a really cool effect to the website. So that's looking great for our services section. Now let's add a heading here that says services. But instead of having to go back and add in our heading, we can actually use another really cool tool. We can scroll up, and let's say we want to use this same kind of style. We can right click on it and click copy. Then we can scroll down, put our mouse right where we want it, and then click paste. And that will paste the text right there. Let's just center align it, and let's change this text to say services. Next, let's make the text white so it's easier to read. Let's go to Style, and then Text Color, we'll make it white. That looks great. Now I want to add 3 different services right under here. To do that, we're going to go back to all of our elements, we're going to go to Intersection, and we're going to drag and drop it right under Services. And that's going to give us 2 different columns, but we need 3. To add another column, just right click on the column icon, and click Add New Column. Now we have 1, 2, 3 columns. And I want to have a picture with a title and a description for each services. To do that, we can go back to all of our elements, and we can scroll down. We can close out of this Pro section and scroll down, and there's an element called an image box, which is the one we're going to use. So let's drag and drop that into our first column. So that looks kind of ugly, and it's really hard to read. Let's add a background to this element to make it easier to read. The same way you can add a background to a section, you can also add a background to an individual element. To do that, go to Advanced, scroll down, go to Background, and I'm just going to choose a classic background and make it white. That makes it a lot easier to see the information. But it does feel a little cramped, so we need to give it some spacing here too. To do that, go to Advanced, and here under Padding, let's try 30. That looks much better. Now let's also add a little bit of a curve so that it matches our website's aesthetic, just like our image. To do that, we're going to scroll down to where it says Border, and here under Border Radius, let's put 20. Alright, that looks great. Now let's add in our picture, our heading, and our text. To do that, we're gonna go to content, and then here we're gonna fill this out. So for image, we're gonna choose an image, and I'm gonna choose this one, and click insert. And it looks kind of small, but don't worry, we'll fix that right away. Next, we're gonna add in our heading, so let's just call this service 1. And then here you could write a little paragraph describing the service that you offer. Now let's clean this up by going to style, and here where it says image width, let's make it 100% so the picture takes up all the space. Next, we'll scroll down to where it says content, and where it says title color, let's make it black. That looks good. And here where it says description color, let's make it black as well. As you can see here, you could also change the typography of both these things, but the font already looks really good, so I'm not going to change it any more than that. Now, do I have to drag and drop 3 more image boxes and do all those settings again? No, we don't. We can actually right click again, click copy, then right click in the middle here and click paste, and right click here and click paste. That saves us a ton of time. Then all you have to do is come here to your second section, change the picture to the one that fits better for that service. So let's try this one. Click insert and change the title. So this will be service 2, but you can call it whatever you want. And you could write in here a different description. And then for this one, we would click choose image, and let's choose this one right here and click insert media. And we could call this one service 3. Now you might notice that this one is a different size than this picture, so it looks kind of weird. So what happens if all your pictures are different sizes and they don't line up perfectly? Well, you can customize what size they are. So let's start with this one. And let's go to content. And here where it says image size, you can do custom. And we want it to be a perfect square so that it matches all the way across. So let's do 500 by 500 and click apply. There you go. And then we'll come here and we'll change this one from full to custom. And we'll do 500 by 500 and click apply. And then we'll come to our third one, change the image size to custom. Let's do 500 by 500. You could put any size here, but I know that this will make it a nice square and it's a good resolution so that the picture is still clear. And let's click apply. And now we have 3 sections that are nice and uniform. Now again, this looks a little bit cramped here at the top and the bottom. So let's add spacing to this whole row. So let's click on the options here for this entire section. Let's go to advanced. Let's unlink these padding values. So top, let's do 100, and bottom, let's do 100. There you go, that looks much better. Now, this text is a little bit hard to read because the background is a little bit light. So wouldn't it be great if we could just darken this picture slightly? To do that, let's click again on the section options here, and let's go to style. And here we have our background like we just saw, but if we scroll down a little bit more, there's a lot more settings here. And one of them is background overlay. So if I click background overlay, I can add an overlay to this background. I could even add another image. But in this case, I'm just gonna go to classic and choose a color. And I'm gonna choose the color black. You'll see that any color that I choose, it kind of adds it on top. I'm gonna choose the color black. And here we can choose how opaque it is. So if I do 100%, it'll be fully black. And if I do 0, it won't be there at all. And I'm going to do, I think about 20 would look really good. So let's put 0.20 here. And here we can see that it just made it slightly darker so that the text is easier to read. Alright, so our service section is looking great. Let's click update to save our changes. And let's click on our other tab to see how it looks. So let's refresh the page. And here we can see that our website is looking pretty great. We have our little about section here and our service section with the background and the images. Looks awesome. Last, let's add a little contact section here at the bottom, and then we'll create our service and contact page. So let's go back to Elementor. And the home page is usually the hardest to make. The other pages will be a lot easier since we can reuse sections that we have already designed. So let's create that little section here, and it's going to be super simple. And then I'll show you how you can add animations to the website as well. So let's click the plus, and we only need one section. Now let's go here to the section settings, and let's go to height and make it a little bit bigger. So minimum height, VH, and for this one, we only need maybe 20%. We'll go to all our elements, drag and drop in a heading, and maybe drag and drop in a paragraph, and drag and drop in a button. Alright, now let's add some spacing around here. Let's go back to our section settings. Let's go to advanced, and maybe let's do 30. That looks great. Now let's add a background. Let's go to Style, and let's add a gradient background. Now I like using two colors that are kind of similar. That tends to work really well. So I'm going to go with an orange and a yellow. And we can see how that looks like this. We can also change the angle that it's coming from, like this, by adjusting it, and you can kind of see it rotate there a little bit. So we're going to make it 90 degrees so it comes from the left. Now let's change this text right here, and we don't actually have to go into the settings of each element here. We can scroll all the way up, and we can right click, copy, but instead of copying the entire text, we can just paste the style, which is basically the settings. And we can see that it copied the settings but didn't change the text. And we can do the same thing for the paragraph. So we're going to copy the style here and scroll down and then paste the style. And let's do the same thing for the button as well. So we're going to copy the button, copy, and then scroll down and right click and hit paste style. Now the style was aligned to the right, so let's change it to align to the left. And instead of yellow, because it's kind of hard to see, let's make it black. So we're going to go to the style of the button, go to the background color, and make it black. And then on hover, it can turn maybe a dark orange. So let's choose here orange, and let's choose like a dark orange like this. Alright, perfect. So now we can actually write the text we want to have here. So for the heading, we can click right here and type in our heading. So we can write contact us here. And here we can write a short little sentence by erasing this and typing in what we want to say. So I wrote, our team is ready to help you. And then here on the button, we can click the button and go to content. And we can type here, contact us, and link it to the contact page. And it looks a little bit weird on the left, so maybe it's better if we center it. So we're going to go here to the heading and center it, and go here to the text and go to style and center it, and go to the button and center it. So this is looking pretty good. Now let me show you how you can add some animations. So let's go ahead and update this to save. And you can add animations to anything on the website. You can add animations to a heading, or to an image, or to a column, or to a whole section. So for example, I want to add an animation to this text right here. So all I have to do is click it, then go to Advanced, then go to Motion Effects, and here where it says Entrance Animation, there's a bunch to choose from. I like Fade In Up, and you see how the text scrolls up like this. We can even choose a speed like slow or fast. So I like it to be slow. That way you can really see it animate in. So that's how you add an animation to a single element. You can also add animations to columns. So for example, I want this column to slide in from the left and this one to slide in from the right. So I'll click on the column settings. I'll go to Advanced. I'll go to Motion Effects. And then Entrance Animation. We're going to do Fade In from the left. And we can see it right there. And on this one, we're going to do Fade In from the right. So we'll go to Advanced, Motion Effects, Entrance Animation, Fade In from the right. And we can see how that fades in. Now you can also add animations to the entire row. So let's do that over here. So on the Contact Us, let's click on the entire row, go to Advanced, go to Motion Effects, Entrance Animation, and let's do Fade In Up. And we can see how it fades in up. So we've added a few animations. Let's update here to save our changes. And let's click the other tab and let's refresh the page to see how it looks. So we can see the text fade in. We can see these two sections slide in. And we can see the Contact Us slide up. So that's how we add those animations. So our homepage is pretty much 99% done. But there's one last thing we need to do. Let's go back to Elementor. And we want to make sure our website looks good on mobile devices. So to do that, you're going to come down here to the bottom left. And here where it says responsive mode, you'll click right there. And it's going to give us three options: desktop, tablet, and mobile. So let's click on mobile. And this will give us a preview. Let me scroll back up. This will give us a preview of how our website looks on mobile devices. And we can see that the text is kind of way too big. and these buttons are not lined up properly. Some things are kind of okay and some things are not. It's super easy to fix, and we're going to do it in just a minute. So to fix this text, just click it, and we can see that it's too big, so let's go to Style, and here under Typography, we're going to change the font size. The cool thing is that even if I make the font smaller on mobile, it does not affect the font size on desktop. So I can have it smaller on mobile and bigger on desktop. Another thing is you want to make sure your background video works on mobile. So go here to the section settings, go to Style, and here you want to check Play on Mobile. That way your video will work on mobile devices as well, if you're using a video. If you're using a picture, you don't have to worry about that part. The next thing we need to do is add a background fallback. If you're using a video, sometimes the person might have a bad connection or YouTube might have a little glitch. So this is an image your website can show so that it doesn't look blank. So we're going to click Choose Image, and we can pick an image from our media and click Insert Media. So if for any reason this video can't load because they have a slow connection or there's a problem with YouTube, it'll show a background picture instead. Next, these two buttons. We want them to be next to each other. All we have to do is click on this column. And right here, it's telling us that this column takes up 100% of the space, 100% of this area. Let's change it to 50%. And we see it only goes halfway. And then let's click on this column and change that to 50%. Now they both take up half and half, and they're next to each other. Let's scroll down. I think this would look better if it was aligned to the middle on mobile. So let's click on this text and align it to the middle, and click on this paragraph and go to Style and align it to the middle. And even though we're aligning it to the middle here, it's not going to align to the middle on desktop. So our desktop site and our mobile site can have different settings without affecting each other. Let's scroll a little bit more down. This section looks pretty good on mobile, and the Contact Us looks pretty good too. So let's go back to desktop. And we can see the design on the desktop didn't get affected at all. We can also check tablet, but usually if it looks good on desktop, it'll look good on tablet as well, and we see that's the case here. So we've added animations, we've created our entire page, and it looks good on mobile devices. Now we're ready to create our other pages. And we're going to do that in a fraction of the time that it took us to make the home page, because we can reuse a lot of these sections. So let's go ahead and click Update to save our changes. So let's go back to our other tab and click on Services. Now we can click here where it says Edit Page, and then let's click Edit with Elementor. Now make sure you leave your other tab open, because we're going to use it to help us make our service page even quicker. Let's scroll down to our Contact Us page, and then right here from the center we're going to right click and copy this section. Then we're going to go back to our Services page, right click and paste it. Let's click again on the settings, let's go to Advanced, and under Motion Effects, let's turn off the effect. Now let's delete these two elements so we just have the title. To delete an element, just right click and select Delete. And we'll also delete the contact button. Then we'll click this text and change it from Contact Us to Our Services. Next, let's add a background image to this. Click on the section again, go to Style. For background type, select Classic, and let's pick an image. This one looks really good. Let's click Insert. Then let's change the position to center and the size to cover. Next, we can go to Background Overlay, select Classic, and let's pick the color black, and let's make it 0.2. Now we can click our text, go to Style, and change the text to white. Then under Typography, we can make it a little bit bigger. Perfect, so we have our heading. And one more thing we need to do is go back to all of our elements, and we're going to find the spacer element, and we're going to put it right above Services. Now this makes the spacing a little bit uneven, but since we're going to put in a transparent header that's going to scooch all of this up, it's actually going to look good with this. This will actually make up the necessary space for the menu to fit. So next, let's go back to the home page, and let's scroll up to our About section, and we're going to right click here and copy, go back to Services, and paste it. And then here we can write service number 1. And then we could change this picture to a picture that relates to that service. So I'll go ahead and change the picture. And next we want to reduce the space a little bit because it's a little bit too big for this section. So we're going to click here on the settings. Then we're going to go to Advanced. And instead of 100 and 100, let's do 50 and 50. Next, we're going to right click here in the center and choose duplicate, and it's going to make a copy of it. And let's do that one more time. Right click and duplicate. So now we have 3 service sections here. And to make it a little bit different, let's switch these. So let's click and hold and drag on this column to switch it with this column. And you see how it moved around. And now we have to change the animations so they don't crisscross. So click on this column, go to Advanced, go to Motion Effects, and now instead of fade in from left, let's change it to fade in from right. And let's do the same thing for this other column. Click on the column settings, go to Advanced, go to Motion Effects, and instead of fade in from right, we're going to do fade in from left. Alright, so that looks pretty good for our service page. One more thing that we're going to do, let's add a little bit of a color to this background to kind of break up the page and make it flow a little bit better. So we'll click right here on this section, and we'll go to Style, and we'll go to Background and add a classic color background. And let's just make it a really nice light shade of gray like this. That looks really good, and it helps the page flow a little bit better. Then we can come back in here and change our titles and change our pictures to match the services that you want to offer. Finally, we're going to click on responsive mode again and choose mobile. And we can see that since we copied the settings from the other section, it already looks really good on mobile because it also copied those mobile settings. But our services looks just a little bit too big, so I'm going to click here to edit it. I'm going to go to Style and Typography, and let's change it to 30. I think that looks much better for mobile. Let's click back to desktop. So once we do that, we can click Update, and let's click Preview. And we can see how we just created a service page in a matter of seconds. Now let's create our contact page even easier. So let's click on Contact and click Edit Page and click Edit with Elementor. And now we can reuse the heading that we created over here. So let's scroll up, and this Our Services heading, let's right click on the center and click Copy. Go to our contact page and right click, Paste. And now all we have to do is change it from Our Service to Contact Us. And we can also change the background if we want the page to look a little bit different. All we have to do is go back to the page settings, go to Style, go to Image, upload or choose the image you want to use, and click Insert. And since all the settings and everything are already done, it automatically fits in right away. Now let's add in the contact section. So we'll come back to Services, and we're going to recycle this section. So we're going to right click here, and we're going to copy, and we're going to go to Contact and Paste. But we do have to change a few things. So first, let's swap these two places, and let's remove the animation from this column. So we'll click right here on the column, go to Advanced, go to Motion Effects, and X out that animation. And for this column, we'll go to Advanced, we'll go to Motion Effects, and we'll X out this animation as well. So now instead of saying service, we're going to click right here, and we're going to write Contact Us. And then here we can write something like, thank you for contacting us, our team is ready to help you. And I want to move this Contact Us back to the top. So let's click on the column settings again, and let's go to Layout, and let's change this alignment from middle to top. Now I want to use a contact form instead of a picture. So let's delete this picture. And to add a contact form here, we're going to search for a shortcode element, like this, shortcode, and we're going to drag and drop that in here. And I'll show you how to turn this into a contact form. But before that, let's plug in our contact details. So we're going to go here to all our elements, and we're going to search an icon list, which is going to be this one. And let's drag and drop this icon list right under the words. So here we can see that we have a list of icons, and we can go ahead and delete these. Let's just start with the first one. So let's click on it. And the first thing we're going to have is our phone number. So let's plug in our phone number. And now here where it says icon, we can actually plug in a phone icon. So we can click there. And here are all the icons that our website can have. And let's just search for phone. And here's a good one. And click Insert. So here's our phone icon. Now we can click this little square to duplicate it. And there's two. And now we'll edit the second one. And here we can do our email, like this. And click to change the icon. And I always search email, but there's actually no email icon. You have to search envelope, and there's a little envelope icon, which kind of means email. So we'll insert that one. And then we can duplicate this, And you can keep on adding whatever different contact forms you have. So for example, you could write in here Facebook and then look up the Facebook icon and insert it, and then copy and paste the link to your Facebook page, for example. Alright, so there we have our contact details, and we can go to Style, and we can go to Icon and choose the color for our icon. I'm going to make them black, and choose the size for our icon, so we can make them a little bit bigger, like this. And then for text, we can choose the color of our text, and we can choose the typography of our text, so we can make the font a little bit bigger, like 17 maybe. And let's give this a little bit more space, so we can go back up to our list option, and then here where it says space between, we can increase the space in between the items. I think 5 looks good. Let's update this to save it, and let's preview it. So here's our contact page with our contact information. Now we need to add the contact form over here. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to have to go back to our dashboard by clicking on our website name. And now you'll see that we have a new option here called contact. So we're going to click right there, scroll down, and here is our contact form. Now by default, this will send it to whatever email you set up when you were creating your hosting. But if you need to change it, just go to edit, then click on mail. And here where it says to, you can delete where it says site admin and put in whatever email you want. If not, it will automatically use whatever email you set up when you created your hosting. I want to keep using that same email, so I'm going to leave this as it is. So let's click contact form again. And then here where it says shortcode, we can copy this right here. And let's go back to our contact page that we left open over here. And let's click here on that shortcode box that we left here. And then paste the shortcode here. And that's going to automatically plug in your contact form. So click update to save your changes. And that's going to automatically refresh this tab. And here we have our contact us page with our text, our contact details, and our contact form. So we created our service page and our contact page super quickly. And on our website, we can have as many pages as we want. You could have an About Us page, a Teams page, or a Projects page, pretty much anything you want. So you can keep adding pages by going to your dashboard and creating a new page, and then copying and pasting sections to create those pages. But we created these 3, and we can now that they're actually created, we can actually close out of these Elementor tabs. So we can close out of it. Once you hit update, you can close out of it without a problem. Your progress has been saved. So let's close out of it. If you ever need to go back and edit any of these pages, you don't have to click edit page anymore. You're going to click edit with Elementor. If you click edit page, it's going to pull up the WordPress builder, not the Elementor builder, and it's going to make your design look all weird. So make sure you click edit with Elementor. So now let's customize this header over here so we can make our website look really fancy by having a transparent header. To do that, we're going to go ahead and click customize. From here, let's go to header builder and then choose transparent header. Then click enable on complete website. Here we can see how our transparent header looks. And we can see the text is a little bit hard to read. So let's go to design, and then here where it says menu color, text link, let's choose a color. For example, let's try white, and we can see that makes it easier to see. Next, let's add in our logo. Scroll back up here and click the back arrow, then choose site title and logo, and then here click select logo. Then you can upload the logo from your computer, but what if you don't have a logo yet? There's a really easy way to make one. You can go to logomaker.com, click start my design, click create a new design, and then you can search for any icon or graphic that you want, like a tooth for a dentist website, or a saw for a carpenter, or maybe just a cool shape. Then just pick the icon that you want, and you can drag and drop it around here. You can add text to it, and you could write your website's name, and you can choose a font that you like. You can hold and drag in these arrows to scale it and move it around. Then you can drag to highlight it and change the colors. I recommend saving your logo in black by clicking save and then clicking download low resolution file. You can close out of here, and then highlighting your logo again, changing it to white, and even though you can't see it, it's there in white, and clicking save again, so that you can have a black and white version of your logo, one to use on dark backgrounds and one to use on light backgrounds. So that's how you can make your free logo. Then we can close out of these pages. I already made my logo, which is right here, and I'm going to click select, and then I'm going to click skip cropping because I don't want to crop it. And here's my logo, but it's a little too big, so let's scroll down, and here where it says logo width, let's try 100 pixels. And we see that 100 looks pretty good, but we don't really need to have the title next to it anymore since we already have the logo. So we can click here to where it says display title and turn it off. Then let's scroll down and click here where it says site icon. Next, click select site icon. And what the site icon is, it's pretty much this little icon that shows up here on the website's tab. Usually the site icon can be a simplified version of your logo. This is the site icon that I'm going to use, so I'm going to select it and click select. Then click skip cropping, and here in the top corner we can see it's added our icon. Now we can click back, go back to header builder, go back to site title and logo, and let's go back to logo width, and we just want to make sure our logo looks good on tablet and mobile devices. All you have to do is click here on this little computer icon, and then it changes to the tablet view, and we can see that our title is still showing. So let's turn off display title on tablet. Next, let's click again one more time to see the mobile view, and we can see here it's a little bit hard to see because it's cut off. So let's go ahead and hide all of this stuff down here by clicking the hide button here in the bottom right corner. And now we can see our whole website with a mobile preview. Let's go ahead and turn off the title on mobile as well. So now we can see that our logo is looking pretty good on mobile. And the next thing we have to edit is our mobile menu. So if we click this little menu right here, we'll see that the text is white and the background is white, so it's really hard to read. And that's because we set the color to white when we were making our transparent menu. But we need it to be a different color on the mobile menu so it's easier to read. To do that, let's scroll up, click back, and since we're in the mobile view, we'll get this new off canvas menu option. You can switch your view down here in the bottom where we have desktop, tablet, and mobile. So from the mobile view, click off canvas menu and then click design. And I like clicking on the actual menu so that I can actually see when it changes. So here under menu color where it says link color, click the first bubble and make that black, or you can make it any color you want that's visible, and we can see that looks much better. So then we can click out of here. Next we can click to go back, and now we want to edit the actual menu icon. So click here where it says toggle button, and you can see there's different designs for the button that change over here. I like the first one, and there's also other style options like fill, outline, and minimal. I'm going to choose fill because I think it makes it a little bit easier to see, especially if you happen to have a very light background. And next we can adjust the colors by going to design, and we can adjust the size, but I think the size is actually good as it is. And then we can choose a background color. I'm going to choose white, and we can see that looks really good. Now we can click the back button again, and let's go back to off canvas menu. And if we click on our toggle, we might see that the menu is in the wrong order. To fix that, click here where it says configure menu and scroll down to where it says off canvas menu. From select, choose the main menu. That way our mobile menu shows the same menu as our main website. Then scroll up, click back, and click back again. And now we can work on our website's footer. That's the bottom here of the website. Let's click to go back to desktop view and scroll all the way to the bottom. So this is the footer here that we're going to be changing. So click here where it says footer builder, and then we can click here where it says copyright, and we can see here that it says copyright and then it has copyright in brackets. That's what's creating this little C icon. Then it has current year in brackets. That's what's creating this number icon here. And when the year changes, this will automatically change every year so that you don't have to update it. Here where it says site title, it's automatically pulling in whatever you titled your website. And then it says theme powered by, and it's automatically adding in Astra, which is the name of the theme. You can erase all of this if you want, but I actually think it's pretty useful that the date automatically updates. And the only thing I want to remove is the powered by Astra. So I can highlight this part right here and hit backspace. And I'm going to write website by I Create Your Site, which is my company. But you can erase or write whatever you want in the footer. Next, we can adjust the design of the footer by going to design. And under text color, we can change the color of our text if we want to. I'll make mine black so that it's easier to read. Next, we can edit the background color of this footer. Just hover over the footer and click this little pencil. Then go to design, and here where it says background color, we can choose the color. And I'm going to make my footer a light shade of gray. You can also add a gradient or an image if you want, but I think this looks good. Next, we can click publish to save our changes and close out of the customizer. Now let's go to the home page by clicking home. And we can see that our website looks amazing. And we were able to do it in no time at all. And there's one last super important step we need to do, and that's liking this video and subscribing to this channel. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you made an amazing website and have a great day.